Boomerang released yesterday and everyone immediately slotted him into a bounce deck. However, I think he belongs somewhere a little different, and a 7-0 streak later, I'm fairly convinced that's right. Boomerang is a 2-2 that reads, when this returns to hand, randomly steal 4 power from cards in your opponent's hand, activate, return this to your hand. So Boomerang is an interesting one. Like I mentioned in my intro, the card, I don't know, bounce doesn't really seem to be working for it the way people had hoped, and I tried it in a bounce deck yesterday. However, my results were very, very low as well, which is why I put the video out today instead. Now, I'm going to front load my review here because I think you guys deserve it, instead of putting it at the end like I usually do. Because this video framing seems pretty good, right? I went 7-0 with the deck. However, I don't attribute that to Boomerang. And I think for that reason, I don't recommend you get the card. I was probably wrong about it in my review because I was thinking this card seemed busted. However, I overlooked the fact that you play it for 2 and you return it to your hand, and then by the time you next play it, it's 10 power, right? If you've afflicted the opponent's hand, but that doesn't still stay 2 cost. You're basically putting 4 cost worth into it at that point. Also, it's not a guaranteed 10 because your opponent's not always playing those negatively inflicted cards. To then do it again, it scales again, which leads into the other issue I have with the card. If you draw this card or want to play this card turn 5 or 6, it's basically impossible because you can play it and return it with another card, right? Turn 6 is useless. Turn 5, you can play it if you have a beast or a toxin on the same turn to then play it on the last turn. Yeah, that's sort of okay. But if you play it and you don't have a beast or a toxin, you need to activate, which means you need to play it, you need to wait a turn to activate it, to return it to your hand, then wait a turn to play it again. Meaning you have to play it on between turn 1 to 4, if that's the case. Not really great. Also, I say turn 1, it's not actually possible to play it turn 1. So turn 2, 3, or 4. Now, I think that by default makes the card awkward. I know people are calling for it to be a 1 cost. I fear that 1 cost could be too strong. It's like a fine balance. I'd say if it was a 1-1, it should return, like, take 3 power from enemy cards, maybe. Maybe something like that. It could still be too strong, I don't know. For the same reason, Sable probably needs a buff. But with all that said and done, I say you look at advice from creators, because I went up against a decent amount of Boomerang. More than I did against Tarantula and, like, Nemorita and all the other cards before. Because I think people actually FOMO'd into this card after the high ratings and grabbed it. However, if you've waited till now, I'd suggest waiting. And with that said, I will lead on to the deck now. And yeah, if you watched my yesterday's video, you'll be interested to see a specific card in here. So here it is. I have called this deck Return to Hand. You know, I'm returning to Victoria Hand and Boomerang. Yeah, you get the point. I won't oversell the name, but I was quite happy with it. So this is a deck that I genuinely don't think you necessarily need Boomerang in. So it's a variation of Victoria Hand. But I'll be honest, this is kind of just a cook. I've taken a few bits and pieces from all over the place and put them in. But because the deck went 7-0 and got me a decent amount of cubes, I mean, 7 games isn't a large sample size, and I'll be honest, some of my opponents did some very questionable moves. One of them didn't play the game. I'm not even joking. I'll include it just to show you, but they didn't play the game. So it's hard for me to say that this is definitively like incredible or anything. I'll play some more games with it and let you guys know. But for the deck itself, I guess I'll do my usual and run through the cards. So Hood is not only hand generation, because we have things like Victoria Hand and Gambit Horseman. We also have Collector, but Hood works great with Toxin Beast as well, sending it back to your hand. If you want to play it again, you get another demon. I think Hood is one of those pieces in this deck that kind of feeds the 2 archetypes together. Then we have Quinjet. Obviously, Quinjet's great for discounting cost of things in your hand. There is an argument for not running Quinjet because the generation in this deck, you're not generating too many high cost cards. There is one thing I will mention now before I get too far along and people are questioning why it's not here. Bastion. Now, Bastion, I think, would be incredible in this deck. There's one problem with that. I don't own 4 Series 5 cards, and one of them is Bastion. So I would say try Bastion if you have it. I think it would make the deck a lot better, and soon I'll get to why. And at that point, it's up to you what you cut. You could even cut Boomerang for it. Well, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe cut Beast or something like that. Kind of just mess around with what you think works. Maybe Frigga, even. Bastion is Frigga. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Nico, next, is one of those cards that's just a great all-rounder card, and also a pretty good card to bounce, especially if you get the double power and then you bounce it, or just really any of her abilities. The only one that isn't great is the move to the right, unless location-specific things help, like if a location is blocked off, or if you have the Shuri's Lab and you play a card on it and move it to the right, you know. It's not a breakdown of Nico, so I'm kind of going into the weeds a little bit there, but Nico works great between the through line of both types of decks as well. Not to mention she also has the copy card to hand ability, and I think Boomerang works pretty well with those kind of cards. Maria Hill. Now, a lot of people run Mirage in Victoria hand decks, and I can understand why. The only reason I don't is because we don't really have that many hand effects to trigger Gambit, Horseman of Death. There's a decent amount of games where I wasn't actually able to get his requirement off, which is a bit of a problem, but as I say, if you have Bastion, that's going to happen most games that you play Bastion. But Maria Hill will always give you a 2-cost card, so gives a decent chunk towards that. If you have Quinjet, it's a 1-cost, and Victoria hand gets something to buff. Obviously, if there's a lot of bounce cards around at the moment, you could always run Mirage instead of Maria Hill, but because it's a 1-drop, I thought with all the bounce cards, it also works pretty well there. Then that brings me to Boomerang. Now, Boomerang, you're kind of playing just for the effect. You can get it off once and it becomes a 4/10, right? And I think that's decent enough reason to have it in the deck. You can still Toxin and Beast it back to your hand. Collector will also get triggers from Boomerang going back to your hand, so that's another thing to bear in mind. The same reason that Collector's here is probably one of the better cards, because you're getting procs from Maria Hill, you're getting procs from HUD, anything that creates cards in hand, but also anything that returns cards to hand. So again, probably another through line kind of card. It's not cuttable really. Boomerang is slightly odd, but also kind of works because of returning it to hand. And if you get copies of it with something like Nico or Frigga when it's slightly larger, that's also very good. When it gets discounted by Quinjet, if it's like a 2/10 at that point and Frigga copies it, you're getting a free 1/10 or 6 or 1/6 depending on what its power's at. That's the main reason it's in here. But also, I don't know. I wanted to find a bounce deck that wasn't just straight up bounce because it wasn't working. And I think this genuinely does do numbers. Toxin is self-explanatory, bounce cards, same with Beast really, I don't think I need to explain those too much. And then we have Victoria Hand, again, same, don't need to explain it too much either. Again, it brings me back to Bastion, because a lot of generation here comes from relying on Nico, relying on HUD or Maria Hill, and them by their own aren't really going to get you what you need. You need to rely on bouncing them and triggering their abilities again, or you play Frigga and copy something. I still think there were a decent amount of games where I got Gambit's ability off, so I wouldn't worry too much. But again, this will be the last time I mention it, but keep an eye open for Bastion if you do have the card. I said it'll be the last time I mention it, but I lied, because Linley is another card similar to Boomerang here, where you'll want to play it. I guess Nico's move to the right ability could also work for Lin, but again, I'm just waffling a lot. I think my deck intro is a lot longer than usual, so I apologize, but I think I needed to do a bit more explanation for this one. Linley, if you copy it to your hand with Frigga or Nico, is very, very nice. Playing it on the other shard location and hopefully summoning a shard somewhere else gets you some pretty big cards. And then the other option is to bounce it and play it on the swords location. And as I said, it wouldn't have been the last time that I mentioned Bastion, because now with Bastion, if you played it on either the shard or Lin's location, you can then play another one. The more I think about it, the more I just wish that I had Bastion so I could showcase how much better it would be. And again, same with Gambit. If you had a Bastion, played it on Gambit's location. I know people don't like Gambit right now, and I kind of land in that camp, but because it works too well with this deck, I couldn't not play it. And then we have Frigga, which is kind of like the budget, the budget version of Bastion, copying one of the cards to your hand. So, that about wraps it up for the deck, and I hope you guys enjoy, and I do apologize for the Gambit yet again. It will be adding to my tally counter that I had for the zombie horde video. But yeah, if you guys do enjoy the videos, do drop a like and a subscribe. It means a lot. I know the editing for yesterday's video was a lot higher quality than this one, and it's mainly because I was able to put more time into it, whereas the weekly releases is not as easy to do. But I do appreciate all the love and the subscribes that I got from that video, so I do thank you guys once again. And yeah, I guess you are now, at this point, dying to see how the deck plays out, because I've been waffling for too long, so let's get to it.
Breaking news.
Yeah, perfect. This is actually really perfect. Good Frigga collector. Yeah, that might be the play, because every collector is going to be made bigger because of this forge. Honestly, fine. I'm just going to double collector here. Boomerang, Toxin. Okay, we're on the same wavelength. Then we just Boomerang, Hood, Toxin. You see this one coming. Just playing the same game here. Too funny. Boomerang, Demon, Linley, Toxin. The goofiest game ever. Wow. Closer than I was expecting.
Victory.
The boomerang off. Was fun. Okay, we got a good on-curve play. Jennifer Kale isn't too bad either. Hopefully Nico goes for a good spell here. Perfect, honestly. That is a pretty good spell. Do Linley, and then next turn we can Toxin Cable. Or Toxin Gambit if we Jennifer Kale, but probably save Jennifer Kale for now. Might have been better to do it here, but with the whole bounce situation, I thought I'll hold off. This is Cerebro, it looks like. Toxin Cable. Jennifer Kale this turn? You know, we might as well. Just because, well, we get Quinjet if nothing else. Nocturne, okay. The thing is, we could mess them up with Nocturne. Let's do Nico, Maria Hill, Nocturne, Quinjet. It's pretty good. I'm hoping to actually mess them up with Nocturne. Ah, they messed up there. But maybe with Captain Marvel they can perform some shenanigans. Wild Child. Okay, what are we thinking? So I can Gambit. By Gambit, it's Gambit, Wild Child, Victoria, Hand, probably. In which we have Jennifer Kale, Nocturne, Cable. Nocturne isn't created in Hand, is it? So... something like this. I think Linley here is better. My created cards on Gambit are Wild Child, Kale, and Cable. Yeah. Yeah, that's not great. The upside here is if we destroy like Rock and Quake, we're pretty set.
Nice. Victory.
How do I have that ability? I genuinely do not know. I won't complain about that. Wow, okay. Genuinely unsure here. The demon is only good if we get something like Hood or Maria Hill. Yeah, I didn't think that gamble was worth it. Collector, Victoria Hand. We do that because that means the right location would have to be our bounce one, and we can't guarantee that yet. Bristol. Yeah, we don't want that, Nico, I'm afraid. Can do Boomerang Beast. Might be okay. Moving a little bit slow though. That's technically fine. Not great, but not awful. Do Maria Hill here. Probably Nico, then Boomerang. Then at that point, if we do get Toxin, we can Toxin this location. Supergiant. Supergiant is very annoying. I don't think we're getting Gambit off this game. Yeah, probably not. And the Linley, okay. Honestly, we're not doing too great, but I was about to say,
Victory.
Depending on what they're planning, they might not have been able to pull it off. It's probably like a MODOK Hela kind of thing, if I had to imagine. Something where they want their turn 5 hidden for sure. But Machine World is going to be an interesting one. If they play on it, it's going to help us quite a bit. Never mind. I was almost hopeful for a moment there. Then we beast Hood and play Hood left, probably. Either that or they're unable to actually get anything left. In which case, Quinjet, Maria Hill, Demon. That's annoying. That is annoying. That we'll probably have to do. We're not beasting anything this game then, I don't think. Unless we Linley beast. You know what, that might work. 1, 1, and 0, so just 2 cost. It's 5 costs worth of things in hand. If I were to get Nico, I'd be able to play them. Okay, and then Strange Supreme is going to be on average 12 power. So I think if we just put Demon here, Linley here, Collector. This is never going over Iska's power, is it? Let's see. Not the thing. Strange needs to pull Power Stone. Thank you. I don't know what it is with me calling these things today. But I think Boomerang needs the help, even though he's just sitting there in my hand. Subterranea of all things. Scorpion feels pretty good. I'm going to be doing a lot of destroying their hand type shenanigans. What happens if we Boomerang, return it to hand, and then Frigga? I think she doesn't trigger, right? Probably have to Frigga first. I'm willing to snap. Because we have not got a single rock yet. I cannot imagine there being as lucky as that. We'll set him over here for if we are to draw any bounce card. I guess the rock or the hood. You know what? It just feels better to do another boomerang. Return boomerang. Then we Quinjet. Probably Scorpion. I'm going to hit a decent amount of cards in their hand here. And then Hood. Rock. This is just, yeah, created in hand. Rock is not created in hand, meaning it's probably pointless me playing it. I don't think Gambit... Oh, Gambit could technically go off with it. It's fine. I mean, they haven't done anything yet. Are they not going to do anything at all? No.
Victory.
Look at my board. I'm sorry, I don't even know what that game was. Okay, anyway, on to the next one. Bud, definitely on the left. Yeah, Zabo on the left is pretty good as well. Boomerang, Bar Sinister. Boomerang, Bar Sinister with Toxin. Now that's seeming better. Okay, probably don't want to destroy a card to draw. Do we Gambit? Probably, just to get it out of hand. Next time we're toxining and boomeranging, maybe we need to... Yeah, we need to clear the space. Which is kind of funny because this Valhalla's not going to do anything for us. Let's see, this is about to be a goofy one. Then they don't return anything to hand. Okay, they went for Jubilee. Let us see. Wait, hold on a second. That triggers Gambit. Shoot, we don't have another created card though. This would do it after Boomerang, but then we can't play Gambit as well. Yeah, that doesn't trigger him. That is a little bit of a pain. And we're not going to get any other created card. What is a way we could trigger him? Doing this? No. This? Yeah. Shoot. I didn't do the math on that, location-wise. Because it would be this. But then I needed an extra space for Quinjet. In which case, maybe I just do that. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Wow. Yeah, there was no way I was beating that. Oh, perfect. Honestly, didn't expect to win that one, but here we are. Nice. The hub will help us quite a bit. And we have the Horde, so... Actually, Horde works perfect with Toxin. I'll show you all a pretty cool combo. This is an annoying location. Okay, well, we're going to be going off curve a bit, which is annoying, but... Oh, thank you. It actually helps. Alright, so what we do here is we sacrifice this. Oh snap. Also, what happens if you activate Boomerang after you return it to hand? Does it trigger itself twice? Then this returns to hand. Oh no. Snap. Let's see. Let's see when this this Horde scenario pays off. Nice, and then if we put the Horde here... Ah, Boomerang's not going to be able to trigger though, is it? We could Beast. And then Victoria Hand. Baron Mordo. Yeah, I was hoping I'd be able to get Gambit off, but by the looks of things, probably not. Because Gambit would just wreck their Horde and probably their Sunspot too. So it's Linley. Then we just need to beat their power at this location. Yeah, sorry about that, Gambit. Not really helping too much here. Are we beating their power here though? It's 11, that's 12, goes to 13. Victoria Hand doesn't really help as much as this, so something like that. And Gambit triggers off the squirrels. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to get enough power to actually make him work. Interesting. That is an interesting deck. I guess it's Bounce, where you give up the last turn, but... Oh well.